my name is Elizabeth from KMTL Event. Welcome to episode 6.5 of KMTL Artist Spotlight. I would like to present to you today's guest, Maybe Blue. Could you please introduce yourself, your stage name, background, and where were you born and raised?
Sweet. Hi, I'm Maybe Blue. I'm a Vietnamese American artist born and raised in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How long have you been involved in music, and when did you first discover your passion for this art form?
Could you define involved?
For example, did you take piano lessons when you were younger?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. My mom was classically trained because my grandfather was a composer back in Vietnam. And on my dad's side, he's kind of like a hobbyist poet slash singer-songwriter. So from a very young age, I'd say forced to do piano. I didn't really enjoy it. So I've been involved in music for a really long time. After piano, I took up guitar in middle school and like started doing like the electronic stuff that you're hearing nowadays. Like I started at the very beginning of it was garage band. I was really bad at it. And then started making like covers of Joji and stuff in high school. And then I think in college was when I really discovered like the passion for, making music. But as for listening to music, I've always been really involved in music as an art form. I think it's the only one that I've sank this much time into and like been able to appreciate as much.
Is this currently as a part-time, full-time?
Oh, this is definitely right now like a passion project for sure, not a career thing yet, but I just love doing anything living, breathing in this like music project. But yeah, not a career yet.
I see. And were there any specific influences or experience that really guided you to say that you want to pursue it as a career in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I think we live in a really good age where anything you kind of want to do, you can, and you can learn really easily. I feel like there's been a big democratization of like knowledge. Like for example, anything you want to do, you can look up on YouTube and there's like a billion like experts who really know how to do it. So I think for me, it was discovering all of those like music production YouTube channels and all these tutorials and realizing like I can do the thing that at one point I was just always like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool to make music?" But like you could do it. And also from there meeting artists at shows as well as going seeing them on tour and stuff like that really like sparks something in me. It makes me feel something that nothing else does.
Was there a specific artist that really gave you that inspiration?
Yeah, I'd have to shout out Aries. I don't know if you're familiar. Aries. He started as a YouTuber doing a lot of like beat making videos, but then kind of like became one of the big faces of, I would call it hyperpop, and then now like post hyperpop, like those big artists. I think it's really inspirational that he started from, just himself in the computer and he's amassed so many fans.
I see, I see. I need to check out the music as
You
soon.
do, I'll send you a link.
Thank
I really like him.
you, thank you. In what ways does your Asian heritage shape your artistry? Could you discuss the challenges you faced related to this background throughout your career?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I think a gut feeling I have as soon as you ask that question is I think it's really nice to be able to put on for the Asian American community in any way possible. It's nice to have representation. Like I remember like right before COVID, like discovering like Keshi. And although like our music genres are not the same, like at the time it was just really revolutionary to see someone who kind of, looked like me or was Vietnamese in like the pop space or in the more lo-fi space at the time. So I think I don't know, to shape my artistry, I would say that it's just about showing people that, you can do something really cool no matter who you are. The way that it's challenged me is I think a lot of Asian heritage things can like, or the cultural things can transfer. For example, like perfectionism in like academics and stuff like that was really like, really warped the way that I was as a student in good ways and bad ways. But I bring that over a lot with music where like I think sometimes ideas need to be perfect even though they don't have to be. And that's kind of the beauty of art too, is that sometimes it's just what's done for now and it's never what's like perfect, you know?
I completely understand that because my dad is also Viet, so he gave
Oh,
me
nice.
like strict mentality of you have to do well in academics and the art side is always on the side.
Right? Yeah. No, I'm glad we can relate to that. But then that means you can probably relate to like if you get like a 98 on a test, the big thing is not that you got 98% right, it's that you got 2% wrong, right? So like, oh my gosh, every song to me is just like how can I beat out that last like 2% to make it good, you know?
For sure, or the comparison of, oh, I did better when I was younger. What's
Yeah, yeah, that
it,
too.
you have like the generational of like musicians.
Yeah, but the good thing is I feel like they have always put that on the back burner. And so for someone like me, like to kind of really want to focus in on it, they don't necessarily have the like experience to be able to be like, ah, no, at your age, I had like this many listeners or whatever, you know?
Mhm. And so with the rise of social media too, it's very different now to like back then where it's harder to spread out your music all across the world.
For sure.
Mhm. And how do you express your identity through your music and what significance does it hold for you?
Ooh, identity through music. I think Maybe Blue is much cooler than I am. I like if I were to separate myself from my music project, like to me, around my friends, I'm just Andy, right? Like I think I'm generally goofy. And that's because I feel like nowadays there's kind of like a trend to be more like nonchalant and to not care about things as much or to not feel things because like there's just too much to feel, right? But I feel like in music, I would argue that like oftentimes it's less corny to be like really romantic or dramatic or like feel things in music. So I feel like I express that side of me through music because you know there's a lot of things that I feel, but on a day to day, like you can't just like cry to your friends or like yell at your friends or like tell them all these crazy things that you're feeling, but you can express it through music.
For sure, like a separate identity.
Exactly. Yeah.
May I ask, how did you come up with the name Maybe Blue?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It was in college. At the time, my favorite color was baby blue, but now it's black. So it's kind of weird because now people will ask me, I'm like, no, yeah, it's not even my favorite color anymore. But I was really obsessed with the idea of getting the syllables of the name like to be catchy. Do you know who Still Woozy is? He's like another pretty big indie artist. Like they're all three syllables. And for some reason I really liked how that sounded. Like it just rolled off the tongue and I wanted something with blue. I was like, oh, maybe something with blue, maybe blue. And then I was like, oh, that sounds good. So I just kind of took that.
Mhm. Is there a song that describes the whole like inspiration behind Maybe Blue by chance?
A song. I would say the latest release before this album, like the latest single. Telling all your friends I'm riding. Yeah, yeah. Behind closed doors, you let him walk in. Yeah, yeah. Don't matter, don't proceed with caution. Yeah, yeah. And now there ain't no stopping. And now there ain't no stopping nothing. Nothing. Rotten is really indicative of like all of my inspirations. Like there's a little bit of like funky J rock in there. There's a lot of like hyper pop like style 808s. There's a lot of sampling going in there. I won't name what I sampled just in case they, you know, legally get on me, but I feel like that song really defines kind of like the idea of the music I want to put forward.
And if you had to describe yourself and like Maybe Blue in one sentence, what would it be?
Maybe Blue in one sentence. Okay. Maybe Blue is taking electronic sounds of the future and packaging them in pop for your friends.
Ooh, I love that.
That was tough.
Sorry for the secret questions. I love
No,
it.
no, no. No, I like it. I like it.
And how would you describe the style of music you typically gravitate towards, and how would you describe your sound to someone who hasn't heard your music yet?
Ooh, okay. The sounds that I gravitate towards, right? I grew up really liking like a lot of sci-fi and like futuristic stuff, whether that be like really bubbly, cool utopian stuff. Have you seen Meet the Robinsons? I think it was a like you know how it was like really perfection and like the trains are so clean and there's whatever. Like I grew up thinking that would be the future, but as well as like Hunger Games stuff where it's like the world's a little darker. But I was just always excited for like what this next version of the world was going to be. So I think that's really apparent in my sounds. I really just like using things that aren't like instruments that you find in a high school band or something like that. I get really meticulous about creating like all of the percussion sounds so that it sounds like you're on like a spaceship or you're like in somewhere that's not in this world. But genre wise, like if I was just to explain it to someone like really quickly, because you know, I wouldn't have that much time to talk to them about it, I'd be like, I'd say I make electronic pop. I try to mix electronic sounds and still write a song that maybe if you really like it, you can still whip out a guitar and like play it just with your voice and the guitar. My younger brother, he called it like cyber pop once. And so like I really like that. So I just tell everybody I make cyber pop.
And you're the one that that produces all the music as well as writing all the lyrics?
Yeah, so my process used to be really, really like individual. Like I would just basically lock myself in a room and not talk to anyone. But I think a couple years back, I found my producer friend. His name's Gustav. He goes by Corzana. And basically, how most songs of ours go is I make 80% of the song or the beat, and then I'm like, shoot, I just need something to inspire me to finish it. And he's such a good collaborator where he'll take that idea, he'll understand what I want to do with it, and then like mix it, make it pop and all that stuff, hand it back to me, and then I'll do the vocals. So I would say it's like a two-man effort right now.
I see. And congratulations on releasing your first EP of the year, Intramotion. Before we dive into the details, how do you feel about this release and what emotions does it evoke for you as an artist as you reflect on the creative process?
I think fellow artists will understand this, but we tend to sit on our songs for a really long time if we're not like confident in them. And so I think I feel a lot of relief now that it's out because a lot of these songs have existed for over a year, over 2 years. And so it's nice that, they're finally coming out. I get to share them with, friends, family, just the whole world. And that way we can get a move on to like all the new stuff that I've been making. Like that's how I feel. I'm just excited for the next chapter. But to reflect on the creative process, I think it's a lot of nostalgia. I feel like all of these songs were not like created in a lab. They were always created from some of them are like voice memos from when I was half asleep. Like I would wake up, I like mutter something into my phone, fall back asleep, and then a day or two goes by and I'm like, okay, what was this? How do I make this a song? Or like in the shower, in the car. So I can remember very specific moments of, coming up with some of these songs.
So, would you say that like all these songs that are released in this album is basically the ones that you made like long time ago, and then the next few songs that you're gonna come up like afterwards would be something totally different?
Yes and no. I think this album is a culmination of all of the song or a bunch of the songs that I've made in the last 3 years. But as the years went by, I started getting faster and faster and more, I guess, efficient at making the music that I really liked, and I started leveling up a little bit. So it took longer to make songs back then. But then near the end of the album, like the second half of the album, I probably made all those last year. And then that's going to allow us to, this next year for songs to be from last year or maybe even this year. So I think I'm just getting faster.
Would you say maybe that's why a lot of the songs in the album sounds kind of different from one another?
I think yes. I think in terms of like the quality of the productions, I would say they get a little bit more dynamic now that I've gotten a little bit better and like I've had more time like practicing. But I also think I'm never going to be able to fully take away the eclecticness of my music because a lot of it is from so many different sources of inspiration that I don't think a lot of my songs like sound the same, if that makes sense. And I think it's going to continue to be that way.
Can we anticipate that the next upcoming projects is going to be named Naive and Nemesis, as those are the last two songs in the album?
Okay, so like I can explain this. So like you're like, why is every single song like another EP or whatever? So it's a music release strategy. Every time you release something for streaming platforms, you're basically giving it a shot at like blowing up or like being popular and stuff like that. But when you release an album, you're basically only giving it one shot to be popular. So the way that I was doing it for a while, especially since I really baby my work and I want every song to kind of be like I want you to enjoy that song and then wait for the next one, as opposed to like if I dropped an album, you like skip through and try to find the one that you like the most, right? So I was trying to release them one by one. Like this whole album was going to be released like 12 songs in a row, and the way you can do it on Spotify is you can do one song and then the next release you just release that song plus the next song, and then you keep it's called waterfalling. And so that way everybody gets to kind of like experience all of them together each time. But then, at the very end, I was just like, oh, this is taking too long. I just want everything to be out. So that's why the last three songs came out with the album. Yeah, there probably won't be any projects named Naive or Nemesis.
I see, but I think it was 12 songs, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, all of them I love so much. Like, I love hearing how different it is. For example, like Naive has such a perfect like late night drive.
I just keep waiting. I just keep waiting for you to speak. Busy in the backseat. I don't wanna be naive. Yeah, yeah. Keep looking at your phone screen. Busy in the backseat. I don't wanna be naive. Yeah, yeah.
While Nemesis is more like towards rap.
Watch it come down on the count of three. And I promise this is not the last of me. To be honest, I'll always be your enemy. Nemesis, I won't stop, I'll never let you down. Praying on your descent, God, just hear me out. Heaven sent, hell bent.
And
Yeah.
Kingsway is more of a dance track.
The right way, the right way. Spin me out, that's a game, baby. Do the most and repose, I come back around. Run it back to the same, baby. And it's all just a glitch, I got over now. Spin me out, that's a game, baby. Do the most and repose, I come back around. Run it back to the same, baby. And it's all just a glitch, I got over now.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad you appreciate that like switch up.
Of course. And what musical styles can we expect you to follow for like the upcoming projects?
Oh, that's a great question. I think right now I'm really inspired and I feel like really enabled with the state of pop music right now, where it used to be a lot more like acoustic, I would say. Now everyone's super down to make it sound really crazy, like adopt stuff from EDM or stuff from like, I don't know, dubstep. And so having worked with my producer who's originally like an EDM producer, we feel like we can experiment and like do a lot more crazy sounds and try to get the key word for this year is grimier. We want everything to sound like there's like a layer of dirt on it or like a layer of distressing. Like we don't want anything to sound clean this year. So that's kind of the motto.
I see. And let's go back a little bit to the album of Intramotion. So I'd love
Mhm.
to hear a little bit more about the inspiration behind like why it's named Intramotion and how it reflects the theme of this project.
That's a great question. Like you're familiar with the inter and intra prefixes, right? And so intra means like within or inside, right? So I came up with this name because I felt like when I was listening to all the songs, I was basically getting a chance to navigate through like all those different feelings that I had and like revisit like these old emotions. And so I feel like when I'm packaging it up and giving it to someone else to listen, I'm basically telling you like, hey, this captures like a bunch of personal moments and feelings, and you're like able to move within them as opposed to like move between them. The album and the lore that is supposed to be around the album, like there's a whole story around the album with the narrative. And that story is about wanting to connect more with people. And so this is kind of meta, but the album itself is like my attempt of seeing if you and I can relate to some topics.
And what would you say the main theme of this album would be?
The main theme, I would say it's connection. I would say it's, hey, has this happened to you? Like, have you felt this feeling before? Like, we can get through it together is kind of the idea of like, you're not alone, really.
So an album that gives support to others.
I would say so. I think it's a an album that is allowing itself to be a little more vulnerable and show that like, hey, like if you want to reach out, here's an example of like reaching out. Like you can also do the same.
And how long did it take to bring Intramotion to completion?
Yeah, I'd say like I had a couple of Lucy's, but the idea of like actually making it into an album, it's been like 2 years because there's been so much like stuff other than making music that you have to do, right? Like there's been a bunch of music videos released. So yeah, a lot of the time was grappling with how am I going to package these songs and deliver them in a way that would make me feel good about myself.
Are you able to give a little rundown about each song and what they represent? I love to hear like the stories and meaning behind each of them.
Sure, I'll try to keep it short, but let's go through it. Stellar, right?
People ask, are you comfortable? Way too fast, keep it liminal.
Right? That one is, I mean, if anything, if there had to be a title track, it'd have to be Stellar because the city in the narrative is named Stellar. And essentially that track is about how you can spend so much time like online, but then feel like really lonely. So it's that one's kind of like a social commentary, I guess. Give It Right is a track about when someone else really wants you to catch up and love them the same way that they love you. And maybe you're scared or you're not ready to fully commit yet.
I found your hands, solace interlaced with mine, and you stole your glance, flawless.
NG Plus is about, it's a video game term, New Game Plus. That one is about it's never too late to start and make something new of your life.
Think I'm wasting time when it's slow, I rush it. Another year passed by.
Kintsugi is the opposite side of that. And that's if you try to start something new and you fail, it's okay, is kind of the message I wanted to convey there. What else? After Kintsugi, it's Replica. Replica is about meeting someone and letting them know that it's okay to start something fresh instead of bringing old baggage. After Replica, it's Only One I Trust. Only One I Trust is pretty funny. Only One I Trust, the original lyrics comes from like one of my good friends. I think at one point like greened out or something during New Year's. He had a little too much. And so he was just like on this trip and he just really felt like everyone was out to get him. And he kept telling me that I was the only one he trusted. He's like, "You're the only one I trust." And so those were the original lyrics, but I've since converted it to a will they won't they kind of love story about, hey, like we're friends, but like if we want to be more than friends, like can we trust each other?
This isn't what I wanted. I got a feeling that I'm out of my mind.
After Only One I Trust, Facelift was really cool. I think that one's just straight up about being at a party, like the feeling you get when you're at a party and maybe you get too wavy. After Facelift, it's Preview, and that one is about falling for a situationship. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. It's about, overcommitting to something that maybe they weren't very into.
End of the summertime, we dropped the codex off. You said 1 week till you leave for Anaheim.
Rotten is about when a relationship ends and you find out that, the other person might not be as honest about how they're feeling afterwards. And so they're telling their friends something different from what they told you. And so now you're the bad guy in everyone else's narrative. And that's okay.
Upset, my fault for the comments.
Okay, that leaves us with Softly, which is really, really about understanding when to let go of someone. It's about understanding that it's the best thing for both of you guys if you guys change the nature of your relationship. And that's what it means to, trust someone to love them from afar. And then we're on to Naive, which is about, dude, I'm realizing so many of these are kind of like love songs. I actually didn't even think about this. Yeah, no, Naive is about when you are really waiting for someone to talk to you, but you're kind of nervous and your anxiety kind of makes you imagine the worst case scenario, that they're talking to other people or that they're not there for you as much as you want to be there for them. And then Nemesis is about your op. Nemesis is straight up about someone who does not wish you well. But I think it's a analogy for like mental health stuff too. So like I hope viewers can kind of find that when or listeners can hear that when they're listening to it.
Are all of these songs more of personal experiences, or it's ones that you watch from a K-drama or like Chinese?
Yo, that's really funny. Yeah, I was really humored when like I'll quote Keshi again because like right now lore wise we know that like he's engaged, right? And so like he's in this happy marriage, and the joke is that like, oh, he writes so many of these like heartbreak songs or whatever. I feel like I ended up writing a bunch of this from like personal experiences. A lot of it was taken from moments of my life that I felt these things, or maybe someone really close to me did. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think most of these feelings are pretty personal.
Because it was the sudden realization of, oh, it's all love songs.
Yeah, no, I was like, because I would write them like by themselves. I didn't keep a track of how many of them have to do with like romance or anything. But that's pretty funny.
But it's interesting to see how each song kind of connects to like this one big story about a relationship or someone that you're falling for, or just like you're going through your own emotions too.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool to see that with you in real time.
The final product is always like the most rewarding feeling, I feel.
Yeah.
And as there is a music video for the song Softly, I'm not sure if it's the title track, or you mentioned that there was another song that was more of the title track.
Yeah, I think Stellar would be kind of like the definitive intro to this world. Spoiler alert, this is one of 3 albums that has to come out to complete the story. So this is kind of like the first act.
And as I was watching the music video, I was really captivated by the many scenes where you're in a box next to a TV. It seems to symbolize like being trapped in love, which you were explaining a little bit before. What inspired this imagery, and what message do you hope to convey about the struggle between love and freedom through the visual?
I'll be unaware, since I'm not the one that you want, and keeping close isn't too hard. So trust me to love from afar. Here we go again, made a mess just to make amends.
That's super insightful. I think you kind of nailed it on the head, right? Like love and freedom sometimes don't exist. Well, they do exist as opposites sometimes, right? And so I hope I do my director justice. But I worked all the other music videos I directed and edited alongside like a small group of my friends, like a handful of us. But with this one, I kind of entrusted the vision over to my director. His name is Lloyd Lennox. His concept was that box is known as the chrysalis, right? He called it the chrysalis. And basically, Blue is trapped in there, forced to kind of rewatch a relationship fail over and over again, unable to let go. And I think it's pretty relatable because it's something that a lot of people go through, and it's not just about love. It could be about like any experience you had that you spend your night like wishing you did it differently or something like that. Replaying that memory kind of like traps you. And so that was the whole visual.
Which explains a lot about the final line that says, "So trust me from to love from afar," too.
Yeah.
And in 2025, you were quite active with the frequent releases from April to October, especially. What was your top three releases, and how does it compare to like the upcoming songs in terms of message and sound?
Top three releases. I think Only One I Trust was really hype because that was when me and my partner really got into a flow state. She creates all of the visuals, like all of the graphics around the Maybe Blue universe. And so that was when we really synchronized. And that music video that came out of it was like some of my favorite stuff that we've ever done. And so that's one of my favorites. Rotten is also one of my favorites for similar reasons. And then I would say Preview, because I think Preview is just such a crowd pleaser. Like I feel like people who don't like my normal genre of music can sometimes nod their heads, bop to Preview because it's kind of more poppy. How does it compare to newer songs in terms of message and sound? I would say the sounds are pretty much still there. I think I'm still very much experimental. Message wise, maybe I gotta write about something other than love. I feel like we gotta branch out a little bit.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I actually didn't realize that a lot of them are love songs, but I feel like it's a common theme now, especially in like the music world. But if you had to choose a different theme to focus on in the upcoming year, what would it be?
I think growing up is pretty potent. I think from any angle, like growing up, growing old, growing out of being young, like there's a lot of angles, and I feel like there's a lot of relatability. Like everyone can resonate with the feeling of, having to grow up, wanting to grow up. There's just so many angles.
And as you look toward the upcoming year of 2026, what are your goals as an artist, and what specific direction do you hope to take your music in, and what achievements do you aspire to reach? What can fans expect in the upcoming year?
I mean, simply put, I just want to release more music. Like I just want to drop more stuff. I want to be more brave about showcasing the work, even if it's not perfect. I want to be able to show fans or like anyone who's watching anything online, like more of the behind the scenes. And what can we expect? I would say expect way more music. That Intramotion is not the only project that gets dropped this year.
These new singles, what specific message or takeaway do you hope to convey to your listeners? How do you want them to feel after listening to your music?
I want people who are listening to feel good. Like I think I just want them to feel, that feeling when you're like talking to a friend or something, and then they kind of go through like they're like, oh, that reminds me of the time, blah blah blah, and you're like, yes, you get it. Oh my god, like you know what I'm talking about. I kind of want people to listen to a song and kind of like feel a sense of familiarity, like, oh, okay, like maybe Blue's talking about something that I kind of understand. And then obviously I want nerds to be able to like listen to the production and be like, oh, did he just do something crazy or something like that? And also I want like my friends to just enjoy them. That's kind of what I expect out of any music release.
Well said. I hope you get the proper exposure that you deserve as well.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
And can you please tell us your favorite part about these three songs?
I'll tell you my favorite part of Rotten in verse 2. I have this line that my friends love making fun of me about because verse 2 is all about how once you're broken up, your partner is hanging out with their friends and their friends are comforting them. And you've always been in that situation where you have to be the girl's girl. So you're like, oh, like forget about him. Like he was bad or like he was not good. Like that's pretty relatable. But I had a bar and it goes, spoon fed you knife talk with a forked tongue. And I thought it was just like a clever play on words because like you're using a spoon, a fork, and a knife. But like all my friends like just keep talking about how I'm like throwing the whole kitchen around in that verse. So like I'm very fond of that verse.
I love the cover art for your singles. What inspired this artwork and how does it relate to the themes of your music? I've noticed a lot of tech influence and as well as the presence of two little figures. What do they represent?
Yeah, so since we talked about how every song kind of represents like a memory or a feeling, the figures are a really easy way to convey some sort of emotion, right? Like a love song has hearts as the icons, or Only One I Trust has like a target reticle to show like you feel like you're being watched. I think it's really easy to kind of just like show emotions, and I mean, I guess it's in the name, like emotes or emojis. So I just want to capture that. Aside from that, I just have a really collagey style of making the cover arts. I like throwing a bunch of things on top of each other, sampling a bunch of things. That's how that usually comes out, and it usually ends up being techie. I think just because my 9 to 5, like I'm a software engineer, so I'm definitely getting like influenced by the stuff I do outside of music.
So we could expect that the two little figures would be following the rest of your album covers.
I think so. I think they're gonna be around for as long as they serve the story.
And what was like the first inspiration of you have of these two figures? Like how did you come up with this exactly?
Gotcha. That's a great question. In Stellar, when I first made the song, the idea for the music video in my head was like being lost in like a really big city, like at night without your phone. And maybe it's like empty because it's really late. And so I was trying to figure out how to convey that, but through like a cover art. And the first thing I could think of was like the pedestrian crossing sign, like being able to look up at that and it's kind of blurry and you're tired. And so like I was trying to modify it and I just ended up like cloning it, doubling it up. And then that kind of became the motif for the rest of the album.
And you made it visible as well. I've noticed it right away.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want it to be something people can recognize.
Have you ever performed live before? If so, what was the experience like for you and what did you learn from it?
I performed live as Maybe Blue for the first time in January, this January. I performed for the University of Virginia. They had a Vietnamese Student Association and they invited me out to perform. And I got to perform with some really talented artists like Monet Ngo. I think you just interviewed him.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I met him there. He's a really cool guy. And then also Rin, like she's also a singer-songwriter from Virginia as well. It was insane. It was really cool. I was so nervous, but I really practiced. I feel as though I'm a big procrastinator. So anything that makes me nervous, I'll just be nervous day of too, because I like don't prepare myself. But for this, I really forced myself. Like me and my band, I played with a guitarist and a drummer. We rehearsed like maybe 3 4 times a week for like a month before the performance. So we were pretty ready for it. It was really, really fun. And I genuinely just want to play like way more shows this year.
How long was your set?
It was really, really short. It's so funny. They gave me 15, no, they gave me 10 minutes. They gave me 10 minutes, so I played 3 songs, and it was insane transitioning between the songs. And like we wanted to ball out. So like we brought our entire like what I call like a tour kit. Like we had like a table, we had a full electronic drum set, guitar, and everything. And we had to like bring it out really quickly, be like, ah, Maybe Blue, I'm about to play some songs, just jam out, and then be like, goodbye, everybody, and leave. But everyone was like, that's it. So it was fun.
Encore, encore.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry, that's all the time I have. The next guy's got to play.
Go check out my YouTube, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, in the last 10 seconds, I'm like, Maybe Blue on everything.
Did you enjoy the experience? And what did you learn from that?
I really enjoyed the experience. And I think I learned to be flexible. Like things break. Maybe the sound doesn't go as planned. Yeah. Like, and I also learned that in being flexible, you don't have to show that you're being flexible to your audience. Like if you mess up, as long as you don't make a face or anything, like sometimes they can't tell. So like it's all about like keeping your cool. You just got to keep a poker face.
How? What's your trick?
What's my trick? I just don't think about it because I'm like, oh shoot, what's the next? If I think about it too long, I'll just forget the words, or I'll just forget like what I'm doing.
Good advice. I'm gonna keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. Just keep going. You just got to keep going.
Lesson of 2025. Do you have any plans to perform in Canada someday, particularly in Montreal?
Yeah, no, it would be really sick. My cousin, is it Concordia? Is
I
that
went
the
to
school?
Concordia.
You went to Concordia? Oh, sick. Yeah, my cousin went to Concordia. So he was in Montreal for his college years. And I always wanted to visit, but I never got a chance to. So I'd be really, really down to go international. And it's been a really long time since I've been in Canada. So hopefully someday, fingers crossed.
You visited Canada before? Which city?
I've been to Toronto and Vancouver, but I don't think I've been anywhere in like Quebec and like there.
Do you know any French words or phrases that may resonate with you?
I'm laughing because I only know like curse words because of my cousin. So maybe I won't say those. I'll choose to say like fromage or something because all I know are like of course, like bonjour, like je m'appelle, maybe blue, but like other than that, it's just like crazy words.
Maybe not the most useful French words. At least you know how
Yeah,
to introduce yourself, though.
yeah, yeah. I'll save that. I'll save that for the homies.
So you could use it whenever you come like somewhere in here or France too.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a final message that you would like to tell your listeners?
To anyone listening, do the things that only you can do while you're here. That's all.
Well said. And I have an icebreaker question for you. As
Okay.
I was scrolling through your social media, I noticed you incorporated a lot of nature into your promos. If you could summon any mythical creatures from nature to join you on stage or at a concert, what would it be and how would it add to the vibe of your performance?
This is hard because I don't want to give the basic answer. Like I love dragons. Like I'm a big dragon fan. So like Western or Eastern, like Oriental style dragons, like I like them all. Now I'm not gonna go with dragon, and I'm gonna say I would bring a phoenix because I think thematically it'd be super cool. Like imagine like the show is ending and it just like disintegrates into ashes, and I just leave. And you know how everyone does like that, like one more song, or like encore, encore, and like the phoenix just rises from the ashes and we play one last crazy song. I think that'd be so cool.
It looks like you could have your own concert anytime of just like having that mythical.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even wait for concerts. I just make it do that like in my house.
I'm waiting for that live stream anytime now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that wraps up our time today. Thank you very much, Maybe Blue, for joining us for today's episode. I wish you all the best in your upcoming music journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and thanks for asking such insightful questions.